A few years after the controversial ending of the hit HBO show, Game of Thrones, a prequel series was released that helped remind viewers of what they loved about George R. Martin's fantasy world. House of the Dragon brought audiences back to the world of Westeros nearly 2 centuries before the events of the earlier series. While House of the Dragon alleviated much of the distaste left behind by the oft-criticized finale of the earlier show, it's not without its own missteps and areas of improvement. One character in particular is in need of rejuvenation and, luckily, the upcoming second season of the series is set up to be the best opportunity to bring back their lively spark. Rhaenyra Targaryen is one of the central focal points of the series, following the dragon-riding princess from her younger years, Millie Alcock, into her adulthood, Emma Darcy. With all the harrowing plotting and violence that naturally surrounds the Iron Throne, she was first introduced as a headstrong and independent young woman, defiant of the traditions and limitations around her gender and steadfast in her beliefs. However, as she grew older, much of the fiery rebelliousness that defined her character becomes far more subdued. This narrative direction limited the full potential of Rhaenyra's character, and, if she hopes to effectively reclaim the Iron Throne from her rival party, she needs to rekindle that audacious rebelliousness and fire that made her uniquely capable among characters in the series. Rhaenyra was first introduced with a fiery attitude in House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon, Episode 2, Recap, Millie Alcock, Social Feature Image via HBO. One of the main differences between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones is in their depiction of the passage time, as the former spans multiple decades within a single season. The numerous time skips in House of the Dragon made it feel unique, allowing for a variety of different storylines to be explored in just a few episodes. Though this creative decision, it was not without its sacrifices. Due to the constant jumping forward, several years at a time, certain narrative arcs feel disjointed due to the amount of off-screen time and interactions that the audience has to fill in. One of the missteps of the time skips was the characterization of Rhaenyra, whose older character felt like a stark difference from her younger self. When Rhaenyra is first introduced, she is depicted as a fiery and self-assured young woman. She was willing to speak her mind to her father King Viserys, Paddy Considine, and appointed Criston Cole, Fabian Frankel, to the King's Guard despite him not being of noble rank. When her uncle Daemon, Matt Smith, contested her father's decision to name her heir, Rhaenyra was willing to fly in on Dragonback to assert her claim. As is common with youth, she was readily willing to attain what she desired, coming to an agreement with her betrothed Rhaenyra Valerion, John Macmillan, to allow them to pursue discreet romantic endeavors while married. The older Rhaenyra felt drastically different from her younger self. Matt Smith and Emma Darcy in House of the Dragon Image via HBO. However, at the halfway point of the season, the series jumps forward a decade in time and Rhaenyra has drastically changed. Though no one could question that Rhaenyra retained her inner strength and resilience, her actions in the second half of the season displayed a weariness and lack of initiative that were not characteristic of her younger self. She has become more reactive and defensive to the actions and accusations of the Greens, in particular due to the consequences of her own actions. Rhaenyra takes her family from King's Landing back to Dragonstone, leaving the Iron Throne and the King's Council open to the influence of the Hightowers. In addition to the time jump showing a change in Rhaenyra's demeanor, it also prevented the viewers from seeing her overcome her character obstacles, such as her fear of childbirth and motherhood that she was introduced with. The change in Rhaenyra is more notable because of her stark contrast with her former friend and rival, Alicent Hightower, Olivia Cook. When the two were younger, it was Alicent, Emily Carey, who was the less assertive. However, her tenure as queen forged and revealed her inner strength and resilience. Their friendship helped emphasize the differences in their characters that would later be a source of conflict. Comparing Alicent to Rhaenyra in the second half of the season shows a role reversal, depicting Alicent as someone willing to walk out on the king in conversation and effectively rule in his place, while Rhaenyra was more passive and still dependent on the king's favor. The tense rivalry between two of the most powerful women in Westeros has been the perfect situation for masterful character work. Emma Darcy is in the perfect situation in Season 2 of A House of the Dragon.